Today, this message is going to be about making no more excuses. I didn't wake up saying, I want to make a YouTube video today. I actually was very tired. I'm still dealing with sickness. I'm pregnant. I got toddler twins I'm taking care of. I had all these excuses, and I was just waiting for the right time, and I just kept delaying it. But the Lord was like, you just need to do it. Even though I just felt so, I don't know, stuck, and like there was like some cloud, I don't want to call it depression, but that's what it felt like. It was just feeling like, I don't know, dark, like this cloud of darkness was following me. But then he highlighted something to me, and he told me, if there's like a cloud over your head and it's like raining, you walk out of it, right? You don't let it keep raining on you. You don't stay in a thunderstorm. You just walk on, or you drive out of the storm, so you get up, right? So he's telling us to get up. There are steps that he's telling us to take. It might not make much sense, but he's saying to take them. The disciples were toiling all night and caught nothing, but he said, go and cast your nets again. And it was morning, and they did it at his word, and they received abundance. It doesn't make sense, okay? God's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. We could sit here and keep striving if we want and keep beating the air, but we're not going anywhere. And he said not to be afraid of small beginnings. Don't despise them, because we all have to start somewhere. So why would he trust us with more if we haven't been faithful with little? So I kept making excuses on why I wouldn't start baking, or why I wouldn't start this channel, because I wanted to have all the details, made up, or maybe I wasn't cooking because I wanted to have a better kitchen. It doesn't matter. Start with what you have now, and then later you will be faithful with even more and have more responsibility, because God trusts you with that. So we have to start right now where we are at. Even though it might not look like a good season, it doesn't matter. He said, don't regard the wind or the clouds. Keep sowing your seed, because you don't know what the Lord's going to do with that seed. So keep planting them, keep watering them. We don't know when the harvest will come, but that's up to the Lord. We don't have to worry about that. We just have our part to work with God. Faith without works is dead. If we want faith to move, if we want miracles to happen, we can't just sit around and keep saying we're waiting on God. What are we waiting on God for? We can be still in God's presence, but God will still require something of us. When those blind men wanted to be healed, it was according to their faith, but there was some that had to go walk into the water and clean out their eyes. Or the lame man had to get up and walk even though he was lame. So do you believe that God's going to do what he said he's going to do, for one? And then two, do you have faith enough to do that weird, strange instruction that he's telling you to do? I don't know what this YouTube channel is going to do and how it's going to bring me to the dream and the promise God has for me, but I know he told me to do it, so I'm going to do it. And I'm not very comfortable talking on the camera. I'm not very comfortable talking in front of people in general, but I know that in my weakness, his strength is made perfect, or his strength is made perfect in my weakness. You will see his power, the power of the Holy Ghost manifest upon me, because I am a weak, I don't want to call myself weak, but I would say that I'm humble, that I'm weak, that it's a foolish thing to think something could come of me. I don't have anything to say to you, but God does. And he's going to use somebody like me to get it to you. I didn't have this planned out. I don't have a microphone. I don't even have my own house. I don't even have a car. We're just trusting that God is going to bring those things to us. Because as we seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, everything else will be added unto us. So we just keep planting, we just keep watering, and those that water others will be watered. We got to stop making excuses, because the enemy wants us to be full of fear and doubt, and he will use the people around us to discourage us. But God came to encourage us. He came to give us life, and life abundantly. So we just need to go out there and start working. And I don't mean working for like a job where you get a paycheck. I mean, maybe he will have us in that for a time, but sometimes he'll tell you to quit your job, and it won't make sense. And people will say, no, you got to have another job lined up. No, not all the time. Maybe God will tell you to quit your job because it's an act of faith that you believe he's going to do something. Maybe he's telling you to move somewhere and you don't have anything. Well, if he told you to do it, he's going to make sure the resources are there. He'll supply all your need according to his riches in Christ Jesus. And he is not in lack. He'll do exceeding above what we could ask, think, or imagine. And there are a couple of scriptures that go along with this. So first of all, Proverbs, let's see here. Was it Proverbs? Yes, Proverbs 6. Proverbs 6, let's see. Proverbs 6:4. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. You don't want to be in poverty anymore, so get up. Stop sleeping it away. Stop distracting yourself with all these other worldly things. Redeem the time because the days are evil. Start seeking God, because we can't get anywhere. We can't do anything without God. So this may come off a little harsh, but God has corrected me with this as well. I've gone through the refining process, and I'm still going through it. I was making excuses today, and he's telling me to do it now. Well, you know what? I was so tired and feeling like crap before this, and I feel so strengthened and encouraged right now, and so much power I feel like has just come upon me. So God will bless you with his presence. That's like the most beautiful blessing of all. But then he will also work out the details of the promises that he made us. He's not going to back out. He is faithful. So we can hold fast to that no matter what other people think. And honestly, we should get used to moving in silence and delight in these seasons of wilderness and isolation with God, because it draws us close to him like never before. Because when all eyes are on us, we can get distracted by the numbers and the views and the comments and what people are saying. But it's what God says that matters the most, right? All right, so another verse is Proverbs 10:4. Starting at 4. He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. He that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame. Blessings are upon the head of the just, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. So you see that if we sleep in the harvest, we cause shame. So we need to start planting and sowing, and honestly, it's a time of reaping too. It's harvest season, and if we're sleepy, we won't see that. We won't know, because we're so caught up under our own our own problem, and we're magnifying it, the storm, like Peter, when he started to sink because he wasn't looking at Jesus. But if you look at Jesus, and if you look for that cloud, and the abundance of rain is coming, you just need to look for it. Look 7 times if you have to. And the walls of Jericho, they walked around it 7 times. But at this point, we've been sitting around for so long, it's time to get up. Start speaking towards those dry things. Start speaking your faith to move that mountain. Ask God to help you in your unbelief, because he's here to help us. He's not here to just leave us stranded. He's got a plan, and he doesn't want us to be suffering for a long time. He actually has compassion on us and is with us in our suffering, and he understands our temptations and our weaknesses, and he's here to help us through them all. Okay, so the last one that I had here, it's so hard. I have a bookmark on the pages, but I did not mark where it is. There is this one as well that I think I should say, that I wasn't going to plan on it. Proverbs 23:4. Labor not to be rich, cease from thine own wisdom. Wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings, they fly away as an eagle toward heaven. Eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither desire thou his dainty meats. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. So that's another thing. We need to stop looking after the money and trying to go for the things of this world, because that's what the world is doing, right? But God is telling us to go after him and not the world. And if we start looking for riches, that's what's going to happen, is they're going to have wings and fly away. But if we go after the Lord, sorry, there's something biting me. Yeah, I got it. If we go after the Lord, though, then the blessing of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow with it. We can literally work for him, and he will pay our wages. I don't know how, because I haven't received it yet. And that's also why I kept delaying doing this, because I was like, Lord, I'm not even in a place to tell people what steps to take or how to get out of poverty, because I haven't yet seen that. But I have seen little trickles of blessings along the way, and I have faith to believe he can do it, and he will do it. I don't know how, don't know when, but he's going to do it. He's going to show up, and especially because of all the people that have doubts, that God, that we heard from God, for one, but then two, that God still does that kind of a thing, but he'll use this foolish thing to confound the wise, and they won't understand it, but they'll just have to know that it's God, because the time to build up Zion is here. He is here to make his appearing through his bride. Let's see, so the next one, It is nice, though, to really dwell in his rest, because if you realize, everything else seems so hurried and rushed, but when you sit in his presence, you really realize he's not asking anything of you. I mean, yes, he will have a step for us, and he has like a plan and a purpose for us, but his desire ultimately is for us to have a relationship with him, a deep relationship with him. He said, it is more important and needful to sit at his feet than it was to be busy with much serving, like Mary, or like Martha. So sit at his feet like Mary, and don't be so busy, caught up serving God or doing things for God and all these people, that you forget what really matters is seeking Jesus, your personal time with Jesus. And he values you because of who you are, not because of everything you do for him. And he's proud of you already before you even do those things. And he's not an angry, disappointed God like we may think, because of our parents maybe treated us with conditional love at times. But God has unconditional love, and he doesn't view us based on all of our mistakes. He views us in the perfection that he's making us out to be in the future. He has the future in mind, and all that he's going to perfect in us. And he calls us a royal diadem in his hand, So we're his jewels in the kingdom. He has so much love for us already. And while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So we don't have to try to make him proud or work our way to heaven, because that's a false gospel. That's not what he says to do. We've already made it just by having faith in Jesus Christ and by seeking him and abiding in him. So I hope that encourages you, that you don't have to keep toiling. You don't have to keep yourself busy all the time. You could say no to things, especially if you feel like you're supposed to take time to rest with God, or take time to take care of yourself. Maybe you just need to take a shower. Maybe you just need to take a nap. Maybe you just want to sit and do nothing. That's okay. You don't have to say yes to everybody, because somebody's going to be upset. I used to be a people pleaser, but at the end of the day, I had to learn that doing that and keep holding my peace, not saying something, not confronting things, just letting people kind of treat me however, stole my peace. So now I'm at the point where I'm going to protect my peace. So if somebody's judging me because I'm sitting down instead of, maybe I'm not washing the dishes yet or something, I'm going to let them judge me, because I want to do the better thing. I want to take time with God and take time to just relax for a minute, and then I'll get to it, But I am a lot better than I was before, because I would leave the dishes for a couple of days. But you know what? I'm on it every single day. I try to keep up with the laundry every day now. So I am thankful for this little wilderness, which is not really little. We've been here for like 3 years, waiting for a promise and telling people, oh, God's got a house for us. And it makes us look foolish, but that's okay, because God has been here all along, and he has grown our faith, and we are still holding on, and he is refining us and purifying us and pruning the things that are not supposed to be there. Okay, so where in the world did I see this last verse? There it is. Proverbs 25:13. As the cold of snow in the time of harvest, so is a faithful messenger to them that send him, and he refresheth the soul of his masters. Ooh, whoso boasteth himself of a false gift is like clouds and wind without rain. So he's called us to go and be a faithful messenger. Go and preach in season and out of season. Like, I might not feel like I'm qualified to teach or to speak on all this, but God is taking me through this so that it could be a testimony and a witness, and it could come from a place of humility, not like, if I already had a house and had all these things, would people really want to listen to me? I mean, maybe after I'm shouting from the rooftops how I couldn't have done it myself and how God did it and how good he is, like the woman at the well, saying, come and see the man that told me everything about me, and yet he still loves me. So, but there are certain appearances and certain people that won't listen, or that come off too high and mighty, that people won't listen to it. But God was showing me that in this time of suffering, in this time of our wilderness, that's exactly when his power and his glory is shining upon us, and where people will come and want to see, why do we have hope and peace in the middle of all of this? Why do we still have faith, and why are we still serving God even though he hasn't come through yet? It is a testimony, and we shouldn't be ashamed of the gospel of God. That's something I'm not going to be, is ashamed. For a while, I wasn't even talking to my family. I moved all the way out to Texas from Michigan. I wasn't talking to my family because I was so ashamed, because I didn't want them to judge my husband, because he does work hard, he works hard, but sometimes the job just doesn't work out. And I don't worry about the money as much. I worry about him, because I worry about what his family is saying to him, what he thinks of himself, because he has me and 2 children and a 3rd one on the way. And so I worry about his identity and the thoughts that go through his mind. But I know that God will come through, because he has before. He's come through so many times. And there was a time we were going to be kicked out of the apartment back when we first moved to Texas, and we had 3 days to pay this rent, and we had no money in the bank. And we just sat there and we were reading the Word of God together, and a book. I don't remember what the book was called, but it was by Max Lucado, and I think it was Anxious for Nothing. So we were reading that book together, and we were just laughing at that point, because we knew that there was nothing we could do at this point. Like, it all had to be in God's hands, and whatever he wanted to happen was going to happen. So the very next day, which was, I think, the very last day we had to pay it, my husband came home from work and said, "You're not going to believe what happened today." He had received a bonus for the exact money that we needed to pay that rent. So there are times when he's just going to do that. And there were times where I didn't want to ask anything of my husband, because I feel like he's already paying for so much that I didn't say that, hey, I'd like to try this new shampoo and conditioner. I had saved like I use Ibotta, so I saved these little coupon, or these little deals. And it was just a thought in my mind. But one week I just got a box in the mail, and it was those little samples. I don't know how, because I didn't place an order. I didn't sign up for anything. Ibotta is just, you save deals. Nothing's ever sent to you. You save deals, and then you go and shop, and then you get the cash back later. Once you get a certain amount, you can cash it out. So I don't know how that happened. All I know is that God saw me in that time. And it seems like such a small thing to other people, but it meant the world to me, because I know he sees me. I know that he hears me when I cry. I know that all of this is for a reason. And even though it may seem like the enemies are a lot around us, we can pray that God will show us that there's more for us than against us. People may laugh, people may, I don't know, and they might not even laugh. It might just be the way they go about things, that thinking that, I don't know, that you should be doing more, or that you should be in a better place, or that you should have a job, that you should be doing, going to church. And believe me, I want to find a community. I do. It's just not, I don't know that it's the time. I've been connected to churches before, especially in Michigan, and I really liked that church. That's where I got the gift of tongues, and I really believe the fire of God came upon me in that place. But when I came out here, I expected it to go very differently. I expected like us to receive our house and us to, I don't know, I guess have a place to call home and to have a community, family. I left all my family behind, but you know, there's a word in the Bible that said that we'll receive hundredfold in this life and the life to come, of houses and brethren and the people we left behind, of everything we've left for Christ. He can return and do greater. And I believe that's going to come. I just don't know when. And I'm at the point now, after 4 years, I thought it was 3 years ago, but yeah, it's been 4 years since we've been out here in Texas. And now we believe we're supposed to go back to see my family. And it's been so long that I don't know how it's going to go. Like, part of me wants it to go really, really well and thinks it'll go really well because they miss us and, you know, they want to see how we're doing and stuff. But the other part of me is afraid because I don't know. I don't know what God has been doing in their lives. I don't know if it'll go different this time because I was facing a lot of persecution when we were leaving. So I don't know. I don't know how their hearts will be. I don't know how their faith is. Like from afar, I feel like good things have been happening. But I'm a little bit afraid to go back. I just know that I've seen confirmation after confirmation about it. So I know that it's time. It's time to go back. And somehow, I think I'm going to have a testimony to share by the time I get there. I just don't know what it's going to be, what it's going to look like. So I'm kind of just giving that back to God. And we have no money, so I don't know how we're going to get there. All I know is He's saying that we've become complacent at this point where we're not growing here anymore. And that's how I felt when I moved from there. I felt like I wasn't growing anymore, like I needed to go through an environment change. I actually just wanted to have a new start, so that's also what happened. I had a whole idea of what it would look like, and when we came here, it was so terrible, but I'm thankful. It was so terrible because we came all this way. We started to fight because we were getting tired. We didn't have the kids yet, so it was just me, my husband, and we were tired, and we finally had reached our destination. Well, actually, on the way first, it was good. It was really beautiful. We were driving through the fall, through Michigan, and through, you know, all these pretty trees and these pretty scenery, and we stopped at a national forest, took beautiful photos, and stopped at a beautiful hotel, you know, went swimming. We had lots of fun. But when we got closer to the destination, that's when it started going bad. Like, he had an apartment over here, but they hadn't been there for a while, so it had so many bugs in it. I don't know what they were, but I was a germaphobe. I did not like germs at all. I would wash my hands so many times a day. I still wash my hands a lot, but I'm not afraid of bugs and dirt as much, you know. But I was so afraid of bugs that I don't know. I just think of the girl at Parent Trap, you know, that was just like screaming at everything, you know, just afraid of everything, acted that way. That's how I was acting, like, and it happened again too when we had our babies, and we had just had them. Literally the same month, there was a leak in our apartment, and we had to move to a model apartment, but that model apartment wasn't clean. It had so many bugs in it too, in the bed, in the shower, and I was about to take a shower, and I was like, ew, I am not staying here. And I had it. And I had said that right when his mom and stepdad walked in, so I felt like such a brat, you know. I felt so judged in that moment because that was right when they showed up. Like, they had come 6 hours to come and visit us, and that is what they saw, me saying, I cannot stay here. And I was so mad. But my husband, being the great man he is, put up with all of that anger that I had, the depression. I was not great to him, and he was cleaning the apartment for us to be able to stay there. He was moving our stuff from the other apartment by himself, and we just had a hard time connecting at that time when the twins were first born. We just really did. We had a hard time connecting. And there's just been so many things. And there was a time where we had slept in the car a few times, you know, because we didn't know where we were going to stay. And when we got here to stay with his family, it's like we had gone back and forth because we didn't have a room to stay in. We were going back and forth between a room, and then when they would go to work, we would go to their room so that we could sleep in a little longer, and we'd take the babies back and forth, and it was just like a whole lot. And the other thing I wasn't ready for was roaches, because of the germaphobe type of thing that I had, and man, and clutter and all this stuff I wasn't used to, coming from a family that was so into the healthcare industry, where I was so afraid. And I think it comes from childhood when I saw, somebody was touching my hair, and I didn't like to be touched. And then I saw them do that to another girl, and they were like licking their hands first and then touching her hair. So I think that put a fear in me, like, ew, that's so disgusting. Like, I think that's where it started. I seen kids pick their nose in school, touching things. I think that's where it started. But thank God he has delivered me. I've literally touched a roach on accident trying to turn on a light, and I didn't cry and freak out. You know, I was just like, that's disgusting. Why? Like, and I still like scream when I see them sometimes, and I still don't like them, but I'm not angry or gonna cry and run away. Sorry. Like, I was weak in the beginning, and I could see how he's just strengthened me. And I'm not afraid of what people think as much. I am a little bit, like, it does bother me. I'm not going to say that I don't care what people think, because it does bother me. I do think, like, man, are they judging, like, how much I'm eating or not eating, or if I'm sitting and resting when they're working all day, you know. But I'm doing the more important thing right now. I'm taking care of my kids. My husband's watching them right now, thank God. But I'm taking care of my kids most of the time. And now we're at a time where people might be judging us because he doesn't have a job. But it's actually helping me, because we were able to potty train our kids. They're 2.5, so we were able to potty train them, help each other potty train them, and get them to sleep, and figure out, because we still don't know how to get them to sleep. But we're finally figuring out that when we go into the presence of God, it'll put them to sleep. And we just really need to depend on him, because otherwise we were trying to pat their back, or trying to bounce them to sleep, or sing them to sleep, or, you know, all these things. They just did not want to go to sleep. So now at this point, we're just like praying and trying to get the atmosphere safe for them to just feel ready to go. Because sometimes they could be talking, and then all of a sudden they just get knocked out. Like, they just get so tired and fall asleep. And I've done that before. Like, just in the presence of God, you could just feel so peaceful and at rest, where you just go. But it's helping me so much, because now, like, in this pregnancy, and when I'm going through bronchitis right now, I was able to rest and take a couple hour nap, you know, between the coffee, and obviously it would wake me up, but I'd be able to take a break. And not a lot of people could say that. So I am thankful that he's here. And yeah, we don't have income, so that does kind of suck. So the diaper thing, that was right on time, because we didn't have money to go buy diapers. And I go to this pregnancy resource center where you take a class, and then they give you a little pack of diapers. So we're using those for nighttime, and it just like all worked out right at the right time, because we did not have money to go buy more. And they give you a little pack of wipes, so we're using that too. And then there was a lady from the food pantry that just, I don't know her. I don't go to the food pantry, but she had used to live across the street, and she brought over some milk and grapes. And, you know, it's like God just keeps showing up. And even in my email the other week, I received a $10 Papa Dough from Papa John's, which is my favorite pizza place. I haven't ate there in like 2 years, because the Lord has been teaching us to be wise, to steward what we have, to not overspend. And we have eaten fast food, but it's usually when other people buy it, because we don't have that money to do that. When my husband was working so hard, he was working overtime, it was like something was taking it all. Like I would say, you know, the verses about the locust, how it steals something from you, and you feel like it doesn't make sense. Like, why isn't this working? You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're working hard, and it's just taking it. That's exactly what would happen, because he would work so hard, and you would expect to have a big paycheck, and then it was just so little because the government would take out so much. And there was other things that would come up, bills, and maybe like his grandma needed help or something. There was always something, and we just never had enough. It felt like that for a long time. It still feels like that. We don't have enough. And God doesn't want us to have that mindset of victim mentality, feeling like we're in lack all the time, because he said we would lack no good thing, and he is our good shepherd, and he'll provide for us. So in this time where we feel like we have nothing, well, we have everything, because we have Jesus. We are depending on him. We are learning to go to our Father. Our kids don't worry about what they're going to eat. They just come to us and say they're hungry. They say they want food, much like we should go to him and ask him, because asking it shall be given, seek ye shall find, knocking it'll be opened unto you. We have to ask him. We have to believe that he will provide, and that the whole earth belongs to him. All these resources are his. The silver and gold is mine, says the Lord. So he can make a way for these finances to come through. A check in the mail, he could put it on somebody's heart to give you money. When we totaled our car, there was a little Bible study I was in, and 2 people felt led to give me money. Now, we couldn't get the car back. We were without a car for a while. But through that, we were able to get a meal and some other things that we needed at that time. Like, it came right on time. And there was another time that we really needed financial provision, and a check did come in the mail, and it was from my utilities from the apartment that we had moved from Abilene, which was 6 hours away from Houston. And then when we moved to Houston, that deposit had come back to us. I didn't know it was coming back to us, but it was a big amount. And I just remember crying and being so thankful that God remembered us and provided for us in that time. And if he's done it before, he could do it again. And if he's doing all these things for me, let that be a testimony to you that he sees you, that he knows what you're going through, and he is good all the time. Even though we don't understand what he's doing right now, it will make sense later. And weeping may endure for the night, but rejoicing will come in the morning. We will forget our sorrow. He'll take away the shame we had. So right now I may feel the shame, but I know he's telling me to cross over the river, to cross over into the promised land, and he'll take away that shame as we do it. Because I don't know what he's going to do, but it's going to be so good that I won't despair anymore. I won't worry about all this stuff. It'll all start making sense, and the table's being prepared before the presence of our enemies, and we're about to run into overflow. We went through this so that we would be humble and remember what it's like to go through this, so we can go and bless others, so we can go and help others who are in this situation. We can go and speak life and faith and peace and joy to people, that we can shine a light in this dark world, because they think it's all these abundance of possessions that is it, and having a name and a job and a title, and I don't know, being married. And even marriage is hard, and it's a testimony of itself. I mean, for a while I felt the most lonely I've ever felt while I was married, and that's not to throw anything at my husband, but both of us felt that way because we have trauma and some hurts that we didn't heal from, so we don't know how to communicate very well. We didn't learn that from our parents. Both parents have been divorced, so we don't know how to have a healthy marriage, except that God intervenes and shows us how. We didn't know how to connect in sexual intimacy. We didn't know how to do that because of my past trauma from those types of experiences where I felt like I didn't want to be there, and I would just try to remove myself from the situation. So I felt ashamed and like I didn't deserve to have pleasure. But then at the same time, I didn't feel comfortable. I don't know. I just didn't feel safe, you know. But as I talked through those things, and as I prayed through those things, and I realized I can have pleasure, and that I can be vulnerable with my husband, like we've reached a breakthrough. We've reached that place where we both can feel good and connect in a way I never thought I could. because I was taught growing up that it's like bad, you know, and it's not bad in the context of marriage. It's not bad. And God can just, he could bring life to anything. And even at this time, like, we might not have time for that as much, and we might feel like we're a little disconnected at times. Like sometimes we feel like roommates, but I know what God said. I know God brought us together, and just like I know God brought us here. So we have faith. I have faith. Whether or not my husband has faith, sometimes I have faith that we will get through this and we will see the other side of it, because God said that he put us together so that we could have a ministry together, and he said that we'll have a home, and that will be for ministry as well. So I believe him. I believe in what he says, and I now know that this was something that was for me to grow, because at first I felt like it was a punishment, but it wasn't. It was more of like a correction, and God corrects those he loves. So he was correcting me because sometimes I could place my husband where God should be. I could seek the affection that I'm wanting, the approval I'm wanting, the love I'm wanting in my husband, but I need that from God. I can't get that from him. And I kept thinking that we were stuck because of my husband. So there's another aspect of it, blaming everybody else, when really we're stuck because of our own choices. We're stuck because of our own decisions that have put us in this place. And sometimes we're stuck just because we don't know the next step. So that means to set aside everything, maybe fast and pray, give up something, give up your desire, your entertainment, give up time. Maybe you go out with your friends all the time and you hang out with people all the time. Give up that social time. Get up earlier, give up your sleep. Get up earlier, seek God, and see what he has to say. Ask him, pray, and then read in the word, and he'll give you understanding as you ask him, and he will show you things in it that you didn't see before that pertain to your situation right now. So that's how you get clarity and direction from God, and you don't have to be stuck anymore. You don't have to sit there. You don't have to just allow it to happen. Allow the enemy to bother you and keep you there, because God has given us the means to go forward. He's given that to us. Just like the widow, she had, like, what she had in her house was enough to start multiplying. And sometimes it does take something from somebody else. Maybe we need to borrow something from somebody else. But at the end of the day, he's gifted us with the ability to multiply. He's gifted us with the authority to speak to those circumstances. He's gifted us the ability to pray and to rejoice and worship through this, so that we don't lose our peace and our joy and our strength to keep fighting our faith for our faith, you know? So keep on fighting the good fight. Don't let go of the promises of God. Stop making excuses. Do that thing he told you to do. If he told you to write a book, write a book. If he told you to start a YouTube channel, do it. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. Stop trying to imitate everybody else, because he's made you unique and he wants you to stand out. Not that he doesn't want other people to stand out, but everybody stands out in their own way. We're all stars, and stars, I believe, are different. So each of us are a jewel, and each jewel is different. We're not going to look like each other. There are going to be similarities, but there's going to be things that are different, that something I could do that you can't do. And none of us, I believe, are less than another, because even a pinky is needed in a hand, you know? Like, it all works together. We're all the body. So, excuse me. We're all the body of Christ, working together for God's glory and his kingdom, to bring forth the message of the gospel to the world. So do your part, because it isn't just about you. Your testimony, what you're going through right now, is for other people as well. So what I'm going through, if I could just look past my present circumstances when I'm fighting with my husband, literally in the middle of a fight with my husband, I try to remember what God said, that he brought us together, literally brought us together in the most unique and special way, and I had a whole different idea of how this was going to go, and we got thrown into the fire pretty much together, and then we thought each other were the enemy. A lot of this time we thought each other were the enemy. But along the way, I held on to that we are not going to divorce. We are not going to separate. The enemy cannot steal this, because what God put together, no man can separate. So we are going to get through this storm together, no matter what it looks like right now. We don't focus on what our eyes see, but what God has said. And we just keep reminding ourselves of that. And then I reminded myself that this is going to turn into a testimony. This is going to help other women in marriages that are feeling alone. It's going to help other women that may even be abused in their marriages, you know, in couples that feel disconnected, be able to connect. It's going to bring a fire to other people. It's not just about us. Because if we just had a perfect marriage, how could we help other marriages? We often relate to people that are suffering just like us. We often relate to other people that are vulnerable, that expose their weaknesses, that share about it, not the one that acts all perfect and like they got everything together. So we don't have to have it perfect. I didn't do my hair. I didn't plan to be out here at the park because I have nowhere else to go that's quiet to make this video for you. I didn't plan to be away from my children at this hour either, which is like, it's almost 8 o'clock. But I know that God has set me here for a reason, and that it's going to do something. So we need to stop worrying about what it's going to look like. I didn't have to worry about what I was going to say. I just showed up, and then all of a sudden he gave me a whole lot to talk about, and I feel like I rambled some, but that's okay. It's okay, because God's working it together. And that's why I called my channel Babbling Brook. Because my name is Brooke, and I can go on and on and on. And I believe his word is like living waters. So Babbling Brook, like a river. So that's where this channel comes from, and the birthing of this page. So I hope that everybody has received something from that. I hope that God will lead you into your next step, and that you won't grow weary in well-doing, because you will reap if you faint not. And that, man, that you will desire to be whole and take the steps that you need to get there. That you will touch his garment, you know, that you will get up and walk out of this feeling stuck, out of this depression, out of this darkness that you've been walking in, and start walking into the light. Start seeking God, seeking his face, and he'll reward those who diligently seek him. And he said, if you seek him and find him, and you search for him with your whole heart, or if you seek him, search for him with your whole heart, you will find him. So just go after him. Give him your heart. If you don't like what's happening, just tell him. Like, we don't got to run away when we mess up. We don't have to hide like Adam and Eve. We can literally come to Jesus and say, Lord, I don't feel worthy to be in your presence. But thank God that you are my righteousness. My righteousness is as filthy rags, but you have cleansed me. You have made me whole. And I could come before you, and I could cry, and you will hear my cry. And many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord will deliver us out of them all. Look at that light just turn on. I was like, it's getting dark. I did not know there was a light right here. I just knew I was supposed to come out here. And I even tried to record this video twice. And look, there's another light. I tried to record this video twice. I tried to do a live on my laptop with the microphone, literally. And it didn't work because my twins kept barging in and crying. And man, it just was not working. And I was moping. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was grumbling. And kind of like the Israelites. But I knew that it was for a reason. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go outside. And that's what I saw originally, was me outside right here in this spot. Like by a bench, by these lights, by this fence. Like I knew I was going to sit right here or stand over here and just make this video. I didn't know it was going to be this long. I didn't know. I had no plans for it. I just knew that I was supposed to do it. And I knew it would get me out of this funk. So I was like, okay, Lord, I'll do it. It doesn't make sense to me, but I'm going to be faithful. And that's what this video is for. To get you to get up, to stop sleeping, and do what God's told you to do. Because it's time. The harvest is here, but we're not going to see it if we don't ever sow, if we don't ever plant. And something he has brought to my mind a bunch, and in the scriptures, is the same year that Isaac sowed in the land, he received hundredfold. What if this is that year that you could receive so much return on your investment, but you aren't redeeming the time? You aren't using that time to actually sow or plant, so you're not going to see anything. You're going to be the one begging in the harvest because everybody else was sowing and planting, and you just sat around making excuses for your sin and for your need to be comfortable, that nothing happens for you, and then you complain and you blame God, but you didn't do anything. God is asking something of you, so you need to do that thing, whatever it is, and stop doubting yourself, because it isn't about what you can do. It's about what God is gifting through you. He gave you that gift, and he's going to anoint you to do it well, and he's going to prosper it in your hand as long as you are seeking him. Are you going to be faithful in this season when it doesn't look like what you wanted it to look like? Joseph was interpreting dreams in prison. Daniel was still praying even though they forbid him to do it, and they were going to throw him in the den of the lions. Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego, they did not bow down, and they knew they were going to be thrown into the fire if they didn't bow down to that image. But Jesus was there in the fire and delivered them out of it. So are you going to be faithful? Are you going to still confess Jesus before all men? Are you still going to do it when you have persecution, when there are no followers, when there are no views, when it looks like nothing's going to come? Are you going to do it? Because God is telling you to build. Noah built, and he was being mocked while he was building, but the rain did come. So I'm done looking at the views and worrying about all that, because it could even be for one person, and that's still something. That's still better than not doing anything. This is still better than sitting there moping about my circumstances, because I felt the Lord encourage me and strengthen me through this. So even if nobody sees this, I know that God has showed up for me. He gave me his presence. That's a gift in itself. So as you are doing what God's telling you to do, he will gift you his presence, and I don't know what else will come of it, but God will do above what we think with it. So isn't it better to be serving the Lord and to be doing that which is good, even though we might have haters, than to be sitting there and doing nothing with our time, to waste it on consuming stuff all the time? It's time to take a break from social media. It's time to take a break from doing what we've always been doing, walking in darkness and being filled with doubt and fear, and just step out there and start pursuing those dreams and gifts and purposes that God has placed in your heart, because they're there for a reason. And if we delight in him, he'll give us the desires of our hearts. And that's what we're missing, is more hunger and thirst for God, and he will fill us up. So just seek after him, and you won't regret it. You won't. And there will be people that come along and challenge our faith. Our enemies, I honestly think, are even a gift, because it grows our faith. It grows our faith in Jesus. It helps us to be humble, and it helps us to release the anger and bitterness and depend on God to help us through it. It really does help us and strengthen us, and through that we can even witness God's mercy and grace and love and forgiveness to them. So don't look at anything like it's going to take you out. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to kick you down. And even when you are kicked down, the righteous fall 7 times and get up again. So God has you in his hand. Don't be afraid to mess up. We're going to make mistakes, especially when we're starting out, but we'll learn. We'll learn, and we'll do it better next time. Success doesn't come if you never try anything. Everybody has to start somewhere. If you're going to be a baker, you have to start baking at some point. You can't just expect to have a whole bakery on day one. You can't expect to have 1 million followers after one video. It just doesn't work that way. And we don't have to go and toil to try to get the views. We don't have to go, try to figure out how everybody else did it, because God didn't tell us to do it that way. He told us to do it the other way. The way that other people aren't going. Not the broad path of destruction, the narrow way. So he's telling me to do this channel, no monetization, no ads, no charging for counseling, coaching, none of that. He said, trust him. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to ask people for money. I'm not going to do any of that. I believe that somehow he will present that to me. He will pay me in due time. I know that he's telling me to just seek his kingdom, his righteousness, and that everything else he'll provide. I don't have to worry about it. Because once you start putting a price on it, you start putting your value in that. You start thinking about that. You start setting your heart on it. And I don't want to do that. I do not want to become about that. I don't even want to become about the views, so I don't even know how I'm going to get over that. Because I don't want to be like, oh, this video did better than this video. Like, it doesn't matter. Because there's power on all of them. And how can that be a test of whether, like, how mighty and powerful God is? Because one video that had one view could have healed somebody, and delivered them from something. And another video could have 100 views that nobody was changed. So the views have no indication of whether or not it moved God's people and changed their heart and gave them the Holy Spirit and, and that they got saved. So it isn't about all that. We need to stop looking at it so naturally and think about the spiritual aspect of it, and that we'll have a reward in heaven for laboring for God. So labor not to be rich, and whatever we do it heartily unto the Lord, not unto men. Don't worry about what people will say or what they'll think. I was harsh on here a couple of times, but it's good to have that correction and have somebody to tell you the truth than to have somebody that's just going to keep you cozy in your sin, to keep you cozy, just, barely getting by, barely doing the minimum. You want to do the maximum in God's kingdom. You want to be sowing so much that you have so much return on your investment that it doesn't make sense, that you can't even add it all up, because his kingdom does multiplication, not addition. So start sowing, start planting today. Stop consuming so much and start creating. He's gifted us creativity. He is the creator, and he has given that gift to us as well. And we can go and start creating things and multiplying the kingdom, like bringing people to him, encouraging them, and we'll feel so much joy and peace just doing the calling that God has placed on our lives, and doing the will of God is so much more satisfying than anything else we could do with our lives, because his way is the best way and the only way to life. Everything else is going to come with who knows what it's going to come with. But I know the way I was living before, I do not want to go back to that. I do not want to go back to the depression, the anxiety, the loneliness, the idolatry of just pursuing after relationship and feeling insecure. I do not want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to it. And just like I was just delivered from gluttony myself, which is why I believe he has gifted me to be able to speak on this, on laziness, slothfulness, and gluttony. I was just delivered from that. I don't want to go back to that either. I don't want to go back to eating away my feelings. I don't want to go back to feeling guilty after I ate so much sugar. I don't want to do that. I want to go forward, and I want to feel like I have the self-control to say no to something. I want to feel like I am seeking God and I'm filled up with God, that I don't even need those things. And that's exactly what's been happening. Earlier, I was trying to eat lunch and I didn't even want lunch. I was full on just hearing God's word, knowing what he's telling me to do next, reading the word, because that's what I've been doing now. Instead of eating, I've been reading the word before I eat. And it has helped me not to desire just the sweets, just to keep consuming things that taste good, because his word is like honey. So that is my sweet. And I still eat sweets, but I try to eat them after a meal now, instead of just like on an empty stomach. Let me just go eat some of this donuts and cookies and stuff. And it's bothered me so much, because it's just all around you. Everywhere you go, even at churches, there's donuts there, or family, get-togethers. There's sweets, fast food buffets, whatever. There's always like sweets everywhere you go, and it feels like you can't run away from it like you can if you have a problem with alcohol. You could just, it's less likely to find that everywhere. but there's still a means to try to get that. But sugar addiction was a totally different thing, and that's another weakness in itself. And that just felt like I would never get over it. But some things only come up by prayer and fasting, and that's what the Lord called me to do. And I was delivered, I was set free, and I thank God for that. But we don't want to go back into bondage. So will I sit there and overeat and stop moderating it? No, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to put myself back in that place where I felt despair, where I felt so ashamed to come before God because I kept eating away my feelings, because I didn't want to address my feelings. But now God has shown me that I can come to him, that he will heal me, that he's not ashamed of me, that I don't have to keep running away, because he's not disappointed, he's not angry with me. Even when I do mess up, when I fall, he's there to pick me up again. He's there to comfort me. He has his arms open wide. The prodigal son just realized he can go back to his father's house. Why does he have to keep living out there like eating slop? So if you realize that you're stuck and that you don't want to be in this place in poverty, get up. It's time to get up. You can be delivered from poverty. But are you ready to let go of that victim mindset? Are you ready to be healed? Because he will tell you what to do to get out of there. You just have to be willing to get up and do it. And according to your faith, it will be done unto you. That is all I had to say. I hope that you will all be blessed with that. And I will see you next time. No idea when that will be, because I am just going to go as God calls me, as I am sent.